I just heard that former Governor James Hunt passed away. When I've met him, he always was a caring person, and I'm most honored in memory of him for receiving the Governor's Award for Outstanding Volunteer Service back in 2000. And this was awarded from Governor Hunt to me. And thanks to Carolina Health and Humor and Ruth that submitted it. And this was for my volunteer work with something called the Laughmobile. And I want to talk about that for a moment. This is a younger me at the Laughmobile. And it was a wonderful program where we took a humor cart to the oncology wards. And I used to wear a clown nose, and I'd open the door, knock, and say, they just let me out. Can I come in? And I also had the honor of training other people to take Laughmobile around. And one of the things I learned is our goal was not to entertain them and not to make them laugh. Not that that wasn't wonderful, but ours was to create a space for them to have a break from their experience. When someone would shadow me to come along, if we'd go to a door and they'd say, not now, or get out, or something like that, we'd say, understand, and we'd move on. And I remember one of the volunteer trainees said, well, that's awful. They wouldn't let us in for just that. I said, no, it's perfect, because this might be the only time they can say no to someone in the medical system in their situation. This was developed by working these people, creating that space. A few of the stories, there's so many stories from that time, but I remember one volunteer came along because they went, oh, you do magic. I want to see the magic. And then at the end, they go, it's the same magic trick. I said, yeah, but the patients are different. I use one magic trick, and then the next week I'll do another. And they say, oh, I thought you do different magic with different people. So it was funny. And then one of the stories I remember, and I'm changing a little bit of the data, still honoring all confidentiality, but a person had their jaw just looked like torn up. I mean, just torn up. And I knocked and went in, and they looked at me. The family was around, and they said, I had jaw cancer, and they've had to do major surgery, and I look terrible. I said, well, that's not going to do. What are you going to tell people when they see them so they feel comfortable? And the person sat up in bed, and they said, I'm going to tell them you ought to see the other guy, implying that there was a fight. And, of course, the other person got the brunt of it. And the whole family set up. It changed the whole mood of the room. That's what I got to do. One other story I'll share is I used to make dog balloons, and Ruth showed us how to do it. It was back when you could still use latex in the hospital space. And I'd make the dog, and I'd say, would you like a dog balloon? And they say yes. And then I would say things like, it knows two tricks. It can sit, and I laid it on its side on the bed, like this. And then I said, and it can lay down, and I'd turn it the other way and it'd lay down, and they always got a chuckle. And I said, would you like me to attach him to the wall to watch out for you? And they always loved that. And I would take the surgical tape and attach it to the wall. And one time I went in, and there was a new patient that I didn't remember with one of my dogs that was a little bit deflated attached to the wall. And I said, well, tell me, I see you have a nice dog watching out for you. And he said, yep. There was a patient who needed an organ transplant in the floor, and they got it, and they gave me this for good luck. And I need an organ transplant. I said, well, we need to make a fresh dog. He said, no, this is the one. I said, okay, we'll leave it there. So it was just such a joy to be able to do these things. I also want to, Rachel, the music therapist that was there, wonderful human being I got to know. I don't quite remember a lot of the other people, but these were fantastic times. Right here is in my hand is this little critter where you can maneuver it, make it look like it was alive. And we had humorous books, and I remember whoopee cushions, and some of the people would just get such a jolly because they'd get a whoopee cushion, inflate it, and then convince the nurse to sit on the bed and make the whoopee cushion go off. And then all the nurses knew what we were doing, but they'd act shocked, and truly a blessed time that I got to contribute. And an equal great thing was to receive this award that hangs in my living room. So thanks, Governor Hunt, and thanks for all you gave this world.